Minister Mamata Banerjee, the West Bengal Junior Doctors Front, have called off their indefinite hunger strike. Today at the State Secretariat, which is the Nabanno building, a meeting between the protesting junior doctors and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee was held. Now this meeting was live streamed. Why is it important to mention live streaming? Because live streaming had been an issue of contention between the protesting junior doctors and the authorities. Previously, we had seen that on multiple occasions, meetings were not held between the authorities and the protesting junior doctors only due to the demand of live streaming. This meeting comes after Chief Secretary Manoj Pant along with Home Secretary had come down to this protest munch here at Dharamtala, and they had urged the protesting doctors to call off their hunger strike. It is also important to mention that during their visit there was a telephonic conversation between Mamata Banerjee and the protesting doctors where she had urged them to call off their hunger strike, and she stated that, not as the Chief Minister of the state but as your older Didi, I am urging you to call off this hunger strike, and I promise you that I would look into your demands. And they were called for a meeting with the Chief Minister at Nabanno, which is the State Secretariat, on Monday, October 21st. A delegation of 10 doctors were called. The doctors reached Nabanno by 5 p.m. However, instead of a delegation of 10 doctors, a delegation of 17 doctors in total went for the meeting with West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. Junior Doctor Debashish Haldar, he has stated that a meeting with the authorities, they have come to a point where most of their demands are being met. Although he also mentioned that he did feel a little threatened by the body language of the authorities, but he said that the parents of the fallen doctor, that is Abhaya's parents, they have come to this protest site and urged their children, that is the doctors on a hunger strike, and stated that they have lost one daughter. They do not want to lose anyone else. Therefore, they have urged the doctors to call off their strike. The doctors have called off their hunger strike, which spanned over 17 days. However, the doctors have reiterated and stated that this does not mean that their movement or their protest movement or call for justice is coming to an end anytime soon. The movement is going to continue the way it has. They are only withdrawing from Dharamtala and going back to their respective medical colleges. One of the doctors who were on a hunger strike since the very first day and which spanned over 17 days, Dr. Ornop, fell sick right after the hunger strike was called off. He was taken in an ambulance to one of the hospitals for immediate treatment, as he had been fasting for the last 17 days. In the meantime, they have given a call for a mass convention at RG Medical College and Hospital, the epicenter around which this movement was built. The place where during the wee hours of 9th August, a 31-year-old PGT doctor was brutally raped and murdered. Ma'am, you were a part of the delegation that went to meet the Chief Minister, and it is being said that the hunger strike is being called off. What is the further course of your movement?
We would like to declare from here that our protest will go on because most of our demands have not been met yet, and the most important demand that we have always been speaking about, which is justice for Abhaya, that is far from being reached. So therefore it will definitely go on. As we have declared one of our that we are going to do a mass convention that we have declared from our stage. This is just to say that this is what we can say right now, but the further planning that we will do, we will let everybody know about it. But definitely the protest is never stopping, because until and unless we get all our demands, there's no intention to stop the protest.
The meeting spanned over 2 hours, and during that meeting the tenfold demands of the junior doctors were raised. The first of the tenfold demands, which is justice for the fallen doctors, the doctors have said is in the hands of the CBI, and they urge the state government to take proactive measures to pressure the CBI so as to deliver justice swiftly. Now the state reiterated its stance once again and stated that they too, much like the junior doctors, want justice for the fallen doctor and want the culprits to be punished at the earliest. Now moving on to the other demands, which is student body election and formation of a state task force. The government has said that for the student body elections, they have given a timeline, that is by March 2025 student body elections would be held. Another point of contention that we saw came up during the meeting was the formation of a local level task force and a state level task force. while the authorities rallied around the concept of a state level task force, the doctors called for a local level task force too. However, the authorities stated that one state level task force would be formed, and that state level task force would comprise of representatives of the West Bengal Junior Doctors Front, representatives from the authorities, and at the same time representatives from the respective medical colleges and hospitals in order to deal with the grievances of the students and the doctors all present at the medical college and hospital. Now, how is this process going to work? As long as the elections are not held, the state has assured that elections would be held by March 2025. Before the elections are held, the representation of the junior doctors in these task forces is going to be on a rotational basis, and it is going to be interim in nature, set for the time being.
See, we went to the meeting. The meeting was again we want to convey it from here that how we wanted things to happen, like what were our valid points. It was somewhat not properly understood. From that point of view, like when we were demanding a local task force, like a college level task force. For instance, if a students at a Midnapur Medical College or somewhere in the periphery, if a female colleague or a male colleague faces some sort of any problem, like a genuine problem in case of a sexual harassment or something like that, so reaching to a medical college, MSVP and hospital of that particular area is easy, rather than taking them directly to the task force at the state level, at the level of chief secretary. That is what we are trying to imply, and that is why we wanted representation as well for the interim time. But overall, we didn't knew that there was a live meeting as well. But what we wanted to present it, we managed to say it all. It is up to them now to give us proper directives and also help us change and take our input and change the health system.
During the meeting, an important issue was raked up by the delegation of the West Bengal Junior Doctors Front. They stated that as per their demands, they want the vacancies in the respective medical colleges and hospitals to be filled as soon as possible. Now, the government stated that yes, it is important to have a full strength to be able to give the patients treatment properly, but then at the same time, the government stated that the recruitment process cannot take place immediately because the matter of the OBC status is still under sub judice, and as long as that matter is not resolved, the issue of recruitment cannot be undertaken by the West Bengal government.
রিক্রুটমেন্ট সম্বন্ধে আপনাদের সাথে আমি একমত। ইমিডিয়েট পয়েন্টগুলো মানে ভ্যাকেন্সিগুলো ফিল আপ করা উচিত, কিন্তু কিছু কিছু ক্ষেত্রে গভর্নমেন্টের হাত বাঁধা হয়ে যায়, তখন কেউ না কেউ গিয়ে আজকাল একটা পিল করে দেয়, আর সেটা ওয়ান সাইডেড ডিসিশনও হয়ে যায়। আমরা বললেও আমাদের কথা মানতে চায় না। বিচারটা আমার হাতে নেই ভাই, এটা তোমাদের বুঝতে হবে। ওবিসি রিজার্ভেশন আমরা যখন রিক্রুটমেন্টের নোটিফিকেশান করেছিলাম তখন কিন্তু এটা ছিল, এটা আছে। আমি কি করে চেঞ্জ করে দেবো? এবং ওয়েন দ্য ম্যাটার ইজ সাবজুডিস, সুপ্রিম কোর্টে পেন্ডিং আছে, তোমরা বিশ্বাস করবে কিনা আমি জানি না, আমরা রেগুলার চেষ্টা করছি ম্যাটারটাকে রেজ করার জন্য।
Now, coming to another demand, which was a central referral system and a bed vacancy system, which the state has stated that their pilot projects are already in process, and the doctors have stated that they are happy to see that such progress is being made because that was one of the demands of the 10-fold charter that they had presented before the authorities. The doctors also raised the issue of removal of the health secretary, which is NS Nigam, to which the authorities stated that they could submit complaints, but then again that is again subject to inquiry, and after inquiry, if the state government feels that actions need to be taken, they would take so. Having said that, Mamata Banerjee time and again urged the junior doctors to call off their hunger strike, and she stated that most of their demands have been accepted by the state, and she also said that these demands are important to have a safe and conducive environment, and she urged the junior doctors to call off their hunger strike. Mamata Banerjee said that she too, as a leader, was born out of a protest movement of a hunger strike, and she understands the essence of a protest, and therefore she requested the doctors to call off their hunger strike and get back to their duties so as to resolve this impasse.
আমি কিন্তু 26 দিন অনশন করেছিলাম মনে রাখবে আমার কাছে গভর্নমেন্টের একটা অফিসার পর্যন্ত কথা বলতে আসেনি। আমি কিন্তু নিজে তোমাদের ধর্নায় ছুটে গিয়েছিলাম, চিফ সেক্রেটারি এবং হোম সেক্রেটারিকেও আমি কিন্তু তোমাদের ধর্নায় পাঠিয়েছিলাম। এবং শুধু তাই নয়, আমি প্রতিদিন খোঁজ নিই কে কেমন আছে, এবং প্রতিদিন ডাক্তাররা চেক আপ করুক, তাদের ট্রিটমেন্টের যাতে কোনো প্রবলেম না হয়, ভুল ট্রিটমেন্টে কেউ যাতে কোনো রকম সাফার না করে, এটাও দেখতে হবে। আজকেও তোমরা যদি আমাকে জিজ্ঞেস করো হোয়াট ইজ দ্য লেটেস্ট, অ্যাজ পার অল রিপোর্ট, তোমরা মনে আজ থেকে ডাক্তার আমাদের অ্যালাউ করেছো, সম্ভবত 3 জনের ক্রিয়েটিনাইনটা 3 বেশি আছে, তাছাড়া ওকে। আমি প্রতিদিন মনে রাখবে আমি ঘন্টায় ঘন্টায় রিপোর্ট নিই, কারণ তোমরা বাইরে থাকলে আমি ঘরে শুয়ে ঘুমাবো, এটা আমার ভালো লাগে না, আমি সেইভাবে দেখি না। কাজে তোমাদের কাছে আমার আবেদন থাকবে, তোমরা একবারের জায়গায় 10 বার আমাকে বলো, সেই বলবার জায়গা তোমাদের আছে, কিন্তু দয়া করে তোমরা অনশন এবং ধর্মঘট উইথড্র করে তোমরা মানুষের পরিষেবায় ফিরে যাও, তোমাদের অনেক ভবিষ্যৎ আছে।
Now coming to this Dharna Manch, which is currently here at Dharamtala, following the meeting, after the meeting was over, the representatives of the West Bengal Junior Doctors Front came down to this Dharna Manch and they held a meeting. They held a meeting of their representatives together, and after putting their heads together, they have come to this conclusion, that is, they would call off their hunger strike, but the protests are not ending anytime soon. The demand for justice is not going anywhere anytime soon. The hunger strike is ending. One more important point, that is, the doctors had called for a strike. That is a complete strike from all medical work of the entire medical fraternity of both the government hospitals as well as the private hospitals if these demands are not met by the authorities. The junior doctors over here have said, Debashish Haldar, he has mentioned that the strike has been called off by the West Bengal Junior Doctors Front as the government has listened to their demands and they would be waiting to see how they act upon these demands and how these demands are driven to fruition. So for the time being, the strike has been called off. The strike of the entire medical fraternity from all their services, that has been called off. It is only a matter of time to see how things pan out. For now, the junior doctors have announced the course or the future of their protests, where they have said that they are going to get up from Dharamtala, where their Dharna Manch is, and they are going to go to Arjikar Medical College and Hospital, where they have called for a mass convention. Now they have invited the medical fraternity as well as the civilians of Bengal, whoever wants to join them in their mass protests in order to pressurize the authorities to get their demands, as well as at the same time keep a check on the CBI's investigation, have also been called to Arjikar Medical College and Hospital at that mass convention. With video journalist Ronnie Shatra, this is Titash reporting for News the Truth NTT.